How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its Days of Play sale, and there's a lot of good deals as a part of that sale. A lot of them are at the higher price threshold, so we're gonna go over some of these great deals available, but we're not gonna restrict ourselves to under $5 or under $10 right now. Maybe we'll do that in a different video, but a lot of good deals regardless, more on newer stuff than anything. This video is brought to you by cdkeys.com, where you can get PSN credit even cheaper. Just go on over to the site, pick whatever amount you want to buy, and you'll get it even cheaper. Check out, and immediately you will get a code that you can then redeem on the PlayStation Store. Redeem your code, and boom, you got your PSN credit, and you can buy any of the games we mentioned in this video even cheaper. You can buy games that just came out, like Stellar Blade upcoming games. System Shock Remake is coming out, Destiny 2 Final Shape, you've got SMT5 Vengeance in the near future, a lot of great titles coming out here in the near future, and you can get them even cheaper by getting your PSN credit over at CD Keys. Check out the links in the description box below. Anything you buy also directly supports this channel and is much appreciated. Now, on to the video. So let's get right into it, and right off the top, RIP Tango Gameworks. Gotta give Hi-Fi Rush a shout as it's getting cheaper and cheaper, 40% off for $18. Now, if you do have a PC, Humble Choice is the best way, or the best value to play Hi-Fi Rush right now, $12, and you get a bunch of other games as well. But if you want it on PlayStation, it's a damn good deal for a damn good game. I absolutely loved Hi-Fi Rush. It's legitimately, or it was legitimately in my mix for best game of 2023. It certainly wasn't my favorite game of 23, but just so surprised by it, and I think that was a big element of why I enjoyed the game so much. I went into it with zero expectations, and Tango knocked it out of the park. And the idea of an action game married with a music rhythm title, yeah, it's been done in the past, trying to marry a music rhythm game with other genres, but Hi-Fi Rush did it so well. Charming cast of characters. Unfortunate that we probably won't get a sequel anytime in the near future, if ever, but said it before, this is like one of those games that to me screams a decade from now. There'll be some of the developers that make a studio, they'll do a Kickstarter for a spiritual successor, and they'll get funded like $6 million. Like, I do believe that will happen in a decade, but we'll see what happens. Microsoft is absolutely whack for shutting down Tango. You guys know how I feel about that, but this deal, $18, great pickup, definitely check it out. Next up, Dead Space Remake, $24.49. Nice to see this get cheaper and cheaper. Unfortunate to hear that Dead Space has once again, as an IP, been shelved. Dead Space is just one of those IPs that I feel like EA could do a lot more with. I don't know if Dead Space Remake coming out right before Resident Evil 4 Remake hurt it. I don't know what the deal was, maybe the $70 price point. But I love the Dead Space remake. I love the original Dead Space, love Dead Space 2, and I thought they did a great job of rebuilding Dead Space 1 on PS5 and Xbox Series. Game looks great, still has that trippy atmosphere, a psychological horror game as well for $24.49. Just a great pickup here. Definitely give that a recommendation. Next up, we've got A Plague Tale Requiem, 60% off for $24. Now, this was a PlayStation Plus title back in January. Hopefully, you guys got to redeem it as a part of that. If not, Requiem is absolutely worth it to be in your library. I thought it was an improvement from A Plague Tale Innocence, and I thought Innocence was a great game. Requiem, just from a narrative standpoint, incredibly gripping, but the game is story-driven, so certainly do play A Plague Tale Innocence first, and then you can jump into A Plague Tale Requiem, but Requiem is a fantastic game, and hopefully Asabo does do a third game. Fingers crossed that's in development as we speak, but $24 for Requiem, good deal if you're looking for a narrative-driven title. Next up, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, 50% off for $24.99. A good deal for Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, not a great deal. I would like to see the game at this point get down to $20, and I would say at $20 it would be a great pickup. $25, still a little bit pricey, but still a fairly good deal. This, of course, tells the story of Zack, which you should be familiar with if you're going to be playing the remake and rebirth. More on that in a little bit, but you know, it is an upgrade of a PSP game, so I feel like the price point should reflect that, but you know, what can you do? $25 is still a good buy. Just keep your expectations in line. It's not like this is a full-on remake. It does have some QOL improvements, but you know, still a worthwhile narrative to go through for 25 bucks. Next up, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, 25% off for $52.49. For a lot of people, this is their game of the year so far. Really, right now, I think for a lot of people, game of the year is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Stellar Blade, or a lot of people have, like myself, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth in the mix. I think Infinite Wealth should be in the mix, and more on that in a little bit. Maybe you'll throw Persona 3 in there. Grand Blue is pretty good. Helldivers 2. I mean, there's a lot of contenders. I mean, this year has been pretty solid so far. FF7 Rebirth, Dragon's Dogma 2 as well. Let me not throw shade at that. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, on the other hand, fantastic, fantastic game. However, I do not care what Square Enix says. You do have to play the Final Fantasy VII Remake before you play Rebirth. This obviously is the more open world style of experience. You have more open areas to explore, a lot of content. Narrative is compelling and, you know, does shake a couple things up. The story, we're kind of starting to figure out where the direction they're taking this is. Visually, it looks great. Do not be playing this game on the performance mode because it is one of the worst looking performance modes I think I've ever seen in a video game. It legitimately looks god-awful, and I always want to play games at 60 FPS, but for this one, I played the whole thing through at 30 FPS, and I wouldn't change a damn thing about it because that performance mode was abysmal. But $52.49 isn't the steepest discount, but given this game just came out back at the end of February, I think it was February 29th, so relatively recently, nice little discount on it, and again, for a lot of people, their game of the year so far, so definitely check that out after you play Remake. Next up, we have Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That is down to $31.49. Should be noted that the game is included in EA Play, as is Dead Space Remake, by the way, so, you know, if you're okay with a subscription service, can pay $5, play through both of those in a month, and be done with them, but Jedi Survivor, I thought, was a fantastic game. Also had some issues from a performance standpoint, but man, as a follow-up to Jedi Fallen Order, excuse me, fantastic. And do play Fallen Order before you play Survivor, but Survivor tells the story of a more mature Cal, a Cal that has found his footing, and the story's incredibly good, I thought. I know some people were a little bit down on the story, and maybe the first half isn't as great, but man, I feel like for the second half of the narrative, especially when they do the big twist, I thought it got really, really good, and how they culminated the story I thought was really well done. Just a really enjoyable game, a lot of content here as well, a lot more than Fallen Order, and for $31.49, you know, still holding up in price given that it's 14 months old, but I think it's a well worth playthrough, so definitely do check that out, again, after you complete Jedi Fallen Order. Next up, I'll give a shout to Like a Dragon Infinite. Well, it's Deluxe Edition. It's 35% off for $55.24. This includes the base game as well as the Master Vacation bundle that does, in fact, include New Game Plus. You guys know how I feel about that, but Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is legitimately my frontrunner for Game of the Year. I think I really have to sit down and think about it. Like a Dragon, FF7, Stellar Blade, a lot of Helldivers, a lot of good games in the mix, but Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, I really, really enjoyed. Ichiban, I just think, is a phenomenal main character, and you would think that for a lot of long-time Yakuza fans and RGG Games fan, it would be really hard to replace Kiryu, but man, do they do a great job in bringing Ichiban into the fold, and he's just such a likable character. Obviously, with Infinite Wealth, the big thing is they do bring in Kiryu as one of the main characters as well. Now, with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, absolutely mandatory you at least play Yakuza Like a Dragon, and really, because Kiryu is at the center of the story, and this kind of acts as a game that's a love letter to people that have been following his story, it would behoove you to play the other Yakuza titles, at least some of them. Play Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 at the very least. 3, 4, 5 do show their age a little bit. Kiwami 3 probably will be happening at some point, so, you know, probably should wait out for that. But nonetheless, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth I thought was phenomenal. $55.24 is great, and I do recommend you to play with the Japanese voiceovers. I just think those, in this game, the Japanese voiceovers are really, really well done versus the English voiceovers, and yeah, I would check it out for $55.24. Next up, Marvel Spider-Man 2, 29% off for $49.69. Guys, a lot of you guys probably already played this game, but if you didn't, like, you bought a PlayStation 5, you should buy the games that really showcase what the PS5 can do, and Marvel Spider-Man 2 is absolutely one of those games that showcases what the PS5 can do. A fantastic, fantastic game. I get that some people had their issues with it. The one thing that I hear predominantly from people over and over again is the lack of content in the game. I think with Spider-Man 2, they did a good job of really keeping it all killer and less filler, and for the most part, they executed very well on that. So, you know, I would much rather a 15-hour streamlined narrative that is fast-paced and keeps going than stuff that is bloated. But I get it that I'm in a position where I'm playing a lot of video games and I have the luxury to play a lot of video games. If you're the kind of person that you're looking to get the most bang for your buck, most hours of gameplay for your dollar, Spider-Man 2 is going to have its issues for you, but I think overall it's a really well-done game. For $49, not a bad pickup. Rise of the Ronin, 29% off for $49.69. When you talk about some of the recent PlayStation exclusives, Spider-Man 2, FF7 Rebirth, Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin is the one that went the least under the radar. It's still a fairly good outing by Team Ninja. Combat's pretty good, story is decent, good amount of content, it's just not blowaway. To me, it has a lot of reminiscing elements of like a Ubisoft open world game. That puts it down a little bit too much, I think. I think Ubisoft games are a tier below, but, you know, some Ubisoft open world games are alright, don't come from my head, but you guys know how I feel in totality about them. Ronin is an enjoyable game, and for $49.69, I think, given that it is a super recent release, came out just like 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, not a bad pickup, all things considered. God of War Ragnarok is $39.89. It's God of War Ragnarok. It's a great game. I don't need to sell you on this. I get it that people dislike the Atreus sections in this game, and, you know, probably with the next God of War outing, I think Kratos is going to be very much at the helm of the story. I know some people think that, you know, maybe Atreus takes the helm. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense, given that Kratos is... It'd be like Halo without Master Chief. Like, I just don't think you do it. But nevertheless, $39.89 again for Ragnarok. Great deal, great follow-up to God of War 2018, and it'll be interesting to see where Santa Monica goes next. Obviously, Ragnarok is getting ported to PC in September as well. Next up, we got Cyberpunk 2077, $30. Honestly, guys, I'm not even gonna say buy this. If you are capable of waiting, you already waited like 3.5 years to play this game. What's another couple months gonna do if you wait until Black Friday and the Ultimate Edition finally goes on sale for like $40? You'd get the base game and you'd get the tremendous Phantom Liberty expansion. I do think that is the best route to go. You guys may disagree. It's up to you. Do whatever the hell you want to do. If you want to play Cyberpunk right now, go for it. There is a Plus Premium 5-hour trial, so you can play it that way as far as for, you know, 5 hours. But nevertheless, again, I think the best route would be to wait until the fall, but Cyberpunk's awesome, so I would certainly recommend it, especially given that it's made quite the improvement since its initial 2020 release, and I even thought it was an okay game in 2020. I didn't vehemently hate it like some people, but obviously much better now. Lastly, RoboCop Rogue City is down to $30. I'm not a RoboCop guy, but I do know that if you're a RoboCop fan, you'll probably enjoy this game much more than me, and I thought it was a perfectly serviceable game, and an enjoyable game from a setting standpoint. The story was pretty good. It's just that there were a lot of big games coming out at the time, and RoboCop, to me, as far as everything I was playing, kind of got lost in the shuffle because it didn't excel in any one area that captivated me, but again, I can totally understand if you're a RoboCop fan that this game would appeal to you a lot more than me, but nevertheless, that will be doing it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available. We didn't restrict ourselves to any price point in this video, but links to everything in the description box below. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.